There's the baked peach oatmeal with some side of yogurt and fresh peaches, and here's the lovely overnight caramelized apple oats. There's one meal. I like it really, really thick. The depression salad. It's actually hard to describe just how delicious this salad is. Wedges and beef cheeseburger. Sausage and veggie frittata. And there's the lovely little banana cake slice. Good morning, welcome to Farmer's Wife Homestead. I'm Stacey if this is the first time we're meeting. Today we're going to get straight into this video, and it was a request from one of my viewers to do a $100 meal budget for two people, and I'm holding up four. So two people, $100 for food budget for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So I'm going to attempt to do that. Yesterday I went to Pack and Save and I ended up spending $102.16. So not bad. I did put a couple of things back. Yeah, I was quite surprised at, well, we'll see. I went with a slight menu in mind, but I kind of chopped and changed it quite a bit as I was shopping around and found things that were on special and grabbed those as well. So I will show you the groceries first and then we'll go over the menu. Okay, so this is the fruit and veggies. I grabbed a fancy lettuce. I grabbed 10 eggs, they are, a cup of corn, a couple of tomatoes, a couple of bananas, a couple of apples, a couple of oranges, one pumpkin, which was $3. So I was like, okay, I'll use that. Half a cabbage. I think there's just over a kilo of potatoes there, some carrots and some onions. And then over on this side of the bench we have some burger buns, a loaf of toast. This was a great price. These flaxseed and sunflower thin rice cakes, they were 45 cents. So obviously it was just the special of the day. Some pea and ham soup mix because I got a bacon hock and we're going to have a roast pork with that. And depending on how much meat I actually get off this, we might hopefully get 2 meals out of that, and then we'll use the hock to make the soup. And then we've got some beef mince, some sausages, crazy expensive, man. I picked up some mayonnaise and then realised, oh, I could have made my eggless mayo, but never mind. I picked up some mayo, can of beans, some tuna. Did I say the spaghetti already? Tomato paste, a couple of tins of tomatoes. It was way cheaper to buy the UHT milk. So for a litre, it was about $3 for a litre of milk, and I got that for $2. Some peaches and some rolled oats. And that's it. I forgot the dairy component in the fridge, and I got a 750 gram of premium thick and creamy natural yogurt. And I wanted some cheese, and they had these American style cheddar. They had lots of other flavors, but I decided to go with American style cheddar with natural color, 10 slices, and that was $5. That was $3 something. So that's what we got all in all. Now the last video that I did with the $50 meals, the $50 meals, I got quite a lot of hate on that video, to be honest, and truly made me want to give up doing YouTube altogether, but I got through it. And I got called a liar and all sorts, that I didn't get that, that much food for that amount of groceries, rah, rah, rah. Anyway, that's just not my nature. So there's the receipt, $102.16. I marked it, I worked it all out. So the fruit and veggies side was $23.37, the meat was $32.31, the dairy was $8.79, and the grocery side was $37.69. So yeah, I mean, obviously 99.9% of you are just absolutely incredible and amazing, and I do just try and block it all out. But sometimes after days, you know, you get hate every day, and sometimes it just builds up and it gets too much. So anyway, enough of that. We're going to go over the menu. So as always, this is just an outline, but I tend to make up things as I go along, and as I say, see bits and pieces left and stuff like that. So for the breakfast, keeping in mind this is for two, so if you wanted to take $200 and double everything that I got, then in theory it would probably feed 4 to possibly 5. The breakfast, we're going with a couple of days of overnight oats with apple and yogurt, and we're going to do baked oatmeal with peaches for a couple of days. We have a vegetable frittata for a couple of days, and toast with baked beans for another day. So that's 7 breakfasts. Lunches are going to be, there's some pumpkin soup, we've got bread, we've got pan ham soup, we've got subs, leftovers, egg sandwiches. We'll see how the lunches sort of pan out. The fruit, we've got apples, bananas, oranges, and I think I might do a depression salad, and that could be a side or it could be a lunch. Snacks, we're looking at maybe doing some banana muffins, tuna cakes, yogurt with a crunchy topping and some peaches, some scones maybe. Dinners, we're going to do a bangers and mash with corn, the pasta spaghetti bolognese, and then we're going to turn that into the second half of it, we're going to turn into a pasta bake. We're going to do a pork roast and I think there should be enough meat for 2 meals out of that. And with the second lot of meat, we're going to make barbecue pork buns with a slaw. We're going to do a pan ham soup, and we're going to do beef burgers and wedges. So I've got my easy overnight oats on my website, and I've just brought that up. I haven't made overnight oats for ages, so we're just going to follow that recipe and make up these little overnight oats. I've got these gorgeous little AG jars, which are perfect. They're great for jams and relishes and chutneys and things like that, but they're perfect for overnight oats as well. Alright, I've got all my ingredients out. I've got half a cup, that was just shy of half a cup of the oats. I'm going to pop just a pinch of salt and about 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Obviously, if you don't like cinnamon, you could add, you know, something else. You could do vanilla, or actually I might even make this cinnamon and vanilla. Now the other thing I forgot to mention was that I'm allowing myself some basic pantry staples, because I mean, even if you've got the most basic pantry stuff, you know, everybody's got a few bits and pieces in their pantry. So sometimes I get hate about that as well, but that's what I'm doing. And we want half a cup of milk per jar. Give it a good stir. And we are also going to take half of the apple and just caramelize it. Just put it in a little frying pan with a little bit of butter or marge, whatever you've got. If you don't have that, you could use a little bit of oil, and then just a little bit. Oh, we might want to put just a tiny bit of sugar. You can use sugar or honey. You don't have to, but I've literally put not even 1/4 teaspoon, just a tiny little sprinkling. I probably should have just put honey in it, to be honest, but I've done it now. But you don't have to. It's not in the recipe, so you don't have to. And just cover them, and then they will sort of fluff up quite a bit as it soaks overnight, hence why it's called overnight oats. And I will prepare those caramelized apples tomorrow in the morning when it's ready to top these, and we'll top it with yogurt as well, so I'll show you that when that is ready. And into the fridge it goes. Okay, now on to the baked oatmeal. So this will be 2 more breakfasts, 2 days for 2 people. We've still got this much of the bag left that we can turn into flour and make some snacks. Righty-ho. Now, normally it would call for 2 cups of milk, but then that would leave me with no milk and then I can't bake something. So I'm going with a cup of milk, and that leaves me a cup to do something else. And then I've got the juice from the peaches, so might as well utilize that fluid. Look at that, it's going to give me about 3/4 of a cup, plus it's sweet. So we're just going to fill that up with water to the top. Then mix. What else are we going to add? We'll add some cinnamon, because why not? A bit more than that. And a little bit of salt again. 1 egg. I don't think we really need too much sugar in here, because we've got the sugary, this is in syrup, so you could add some brown sugar if you want. I'm going to leave it because I'm going to think that that's going to make it sugary enough. Teaspoon of baking powder. Going to go a little bit of vanilla. Of course, you could add whatever you like. If you've got some dried fruit, add dried fruit. Honey. Mix and match whatever you like. Okay, so that's going to go into my pan. Dice them up and pop them in like this. You could leave them whole if you wanted to, but I think it'd be easier if it was diced up. And I will dice the rest and put it aside to go with some yogurt as a snack, or you know, a dessert if you wanted something sweet. Now we're just going to bake that in a 180-degree oven until it's set. Okay, so I'm going to pop this roast into my roasting pan. I want to score the outside of the hock though, just so maybe we can try and get some crackling. So I'm just grabbing a knife and just using my sharp knife and just scoring the skin. Obviously if you don't like it you can take it off, but hubby would say to me, "Wifey, what are you doing?" if I threw away pork skin and pork fat. Try not to go through the meat. Okay, so it's now been scored, and I'm just popping that into my roasting dish, and now I'm just going to, using this is the dirty hand, clean hand, I'm spraying it with just a little bit of oil. Who can afford butter these days, right? And then just liberally dust it with some salt, and that will help that to crackle up. Make sure that your pork skin is super dry. Stop saying I can't believe how much I say it's just such a habit. It's a bad habit. I do apologize. That's going to go into a hot oven and get that crackling going, and then we're going to turn it down, and then we'll just let it cook until it's ready. I'll use my thermometer to get it to at least 63. Just did it again. Right, the next thing we're going to prepare is the beef mince. I was going to say I did shop just at the one supermarket. If you only had $100, you could shop at fruit and veggie shops, the Mad Butcher. Their meat it was way cheaper than Pack and Save was, so you could save yourself quite a bit of money if you went to a butcher like Mad Butcher. And I think their beef mince, I had a quick look, was $10 something a kilo. I paid $15 a kilo, so that's quite a big saving. Right, we need 2 patties out of this beef mince for a burger each, and then the rest is going to go into the spag bowl, and then that spag bowl is going to be 1 meal, and if there's leftovers for lunch then that's cool. And then the other half is going to the other half of the leftover spag bowl is going to be turned into a pasta bake, is what I'm trying to say. But I'm not going to do it 2 nights in a row, so we'll have like a different meal in between. And you can also, I'm going to start forming some patties. You could also meal prep on a Sunday or something and cook or prep a lot of this. So I've just got a meatball about that size, so I want 2 of them around about the same size. And again, I'm not going to put any flavorings or anything in this. I'm going to just roll 2 balls, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to create a patty, a nice burger patty with that. And then the rest of it, we're going to just start making the spaghetti bolognese. I'm just going to wash up my hands. But as I was saying, you could meal prep on a Sunday and do a lot of this ahead of time, and even cook up stuff like the meat patties. If you wanted it at the end of the week, you could freeze the meat patties, and then you just take them out and cook them from frozen. The spag bowl you could cook up, and then on the Wednesday, like on the Monday, have the spag bowl, and then on the Wednesday have the spaghetti pasta bake. Yeah, so you could do that and just meal prep, things like that, just so you don't feel like you're eating the same thing twice in a row. We need a frying pan. I'm going to pop that on. I'm going to grab the rest of the beef mince and put that into the frying pan. And we will grab some onions and probably some carrots as well. Pop that in there as well. Right, you know me, I like to show you little tips and tricks. So get yourself 2 little toast plates. Here's my 2 little patties for the burgers, and pop one down, and then you're going to use the bottom and press it down. And that way you get a nice thin patty. Now, again, you could, you know, add flour, egg if you wanted, flavorings, salt, all that sort of stuff, but I just want the meat to speak for itself. And then I've got 2 patties ready to cook up the burgers. I'm just going to grate up 1 carrot and dice up 1 onion and add that to the browning beef mince. I only ended up using half of that onion and half of the carrot because when I put it in there I thought, yeah, no, I can utilise this for another meal. Absolutely love this chopper. Okay, and I'm going to add some mixed herbs, garlic powder, lots of garlic powder, love garlic. If you've got onion powder, pop that in. Some salt. Mince needs quite a bit of salt, so don't stress about putting a teaspoon of salt in this. It's going to be, you know, over quite a lot of meals. This is smelling delicious. Okay, that's all browned now, so we're going in with our 2 cans of tomatoes. And about 1/4 of a cup of water, just to grab every last little bit out of the can. And then we're going in with our tin of tomato paste. Don't skip the tomato paste. It's really, really good in these types of meals to add the tomato paste. It just gives it such a depth of flavour. And just simmer this down for maybe 20 minutes. Add some balsamic glaze. So I'll just add about a tablespoon of balsamic glaze into this, and it just goes really nice with the tomatoes. Okay, so we're just going to cook this down, and as I said, half will go to the spaghetti bolognese meal and the other half will go to the pasta bake. Alright, I've got this massive pumpkin. Luckily I've got this massive knife, and I'm going to leave some for some of the other meals. So I've just got to work out how much I need to leave. The rest I'm just going to turn into a soup. And I will use the rest of that onion and that carrot. Or should I use that for the frittata? No, I'll use that. So I'm just going to grab a wedge out of this for roasted pumpkin to go with the roast. Might leave some, I'll roast up some to go with the roast, and we'll roast up some extra pieces to go with the, with the bangers and mash as well. Because, yeah, could probably even leave a little bit, because it's quite a good sized pumpkin, leave a little bit to go on the frittata as well. We'll just dice some pieces up, so I'll do another little wedge. So I've got 2 wedges here for the roasted, a little wedge here for the frittata, and then the other half will turn into soup. So I'm basically going to peel, take all the seeds out, peel and chuck the onion and the carrot into a big pan, cover it with water, add a bit of chicken stock, and then just cook it until it's, you know, the pumpkin's cooked through, and then blitz it with a hand stick blender, and that will be it. If you have some extra money, pumpkin soup is really, really nice with a golden kumara or sweet potato. It's stunning. It just gives it this beautiful sweetness. So I highly recommend popping that into your pumpkin soup. So that's what we're up to next. The spag bowl is cooking away, and I've got the noodles now cooking. We're getting there. Getting it done and dusted. The roasted pumpkin, I'm just going to wash the outside of the pumpkin really well and leave the skin on, and then just chop it into wedges. There's the baked oatmeal. I cooked it just maybe 5 minutes too long. I totally forgot about it. But that's okay, it'll still be delicious. And you can serve this with some yogurt. And I've actually got this for 2 breakfasts, so we're going to have it so you get, you know, quite a big serving with some and it'll be quite nice cold. You can have it hot, but it'll be quite nice cold too. I think it'll be nicer cold, and with some yogurt over the top, and a slice of toast if you wanted a slice of toast. I did decide to use this to go into the frittata, and what I've done is I've just cut up that little wedge of pumpkin that you saw me cut up, and I'm going to pop that carrot and that half an onion into this container as well, and just whatever little bits and pieces I have left over I'm going to throw into this container here, and then sort of like at the end of the week we can have it as a throw it all in there and make something out of nothing almost. Okay, so far we've got the baked oatmeal cooling, we've got those overnight oats, I've cooked the entire packet of noodles, I've got the baked pumpkins ready. Here is the bolognese sauce for the bolognese and for the pasta bake, and there is the pumpkin soup about to get underway, and that is just some vegetable stock powder on the top with some salt and pepper. So in there we've got the rest of the cut up pumpkin, onion, well about half an onion and 1 carrot. Okay, let's dish up one of the night's meals. Of course it all depends how much you eat or how little you eat. Like, you know, like senior citizens, that may be a massive amount for them, but if you are a younger energetic adult that, you know, is doing a huge day, then, you know, you might want a bigger serving. So that's the one meal. Don't know if you can see, but I've still got all of this spaghetti left. So I've got I'm just going to top it with the tomato. Now that is quite a good size meal. So again, if you older, you may even want only half of that. So it's completely over to you. What I'm saying is it could stretch even further. There's one meal. This, you could definitely make a lunch, a spaghetti bolognese lunch as well if you like, but for me I just think it's easier to just take the rest of the ingredients. You could save some spaghetti noodles and make a salad with it. I'm going to save some. There you go. Just thought about another meal. Alright, so you want to coat all of the noodles. Even though I took some out, it's still loads in there. And remember, you could use some of this for lunch, so cook up this pasta bake and have it for lunch the next day. Now, for me, with a pasta bake, using the spaghetti, I would want to oh, sorry for the noise, cut up the spaghetti. Right. We can probably spare some cheese. We've got 10 slices. We need 2 for the burger. And we need 2 for the subs. The other thing you could do, which would be quite nice, is before you put the spaghetti in there, instead of subs, which I should have done, was keep some of that mince and toasted off that bread, and then topped it with that spaghetti bolognese mix without the pasta, and that would have made a lovely lunch. So we're going to get 2, and we're just going to, obviously if you've got cheese already you could use more cheese, but I'm really trying to be super tight with the budget, as if you only had the $100. And to reheat this, you would want to cover this with tin foil and then plock it in a not too hot oven and just slowly heat it up, maybe around about 170 until it's hot through. So these 2 slices, when you do this, have gone quite a long way, and when it melts, hopefully that'll provide a little bit of a topping. There we go. So cover that and into the oven. And as I said, that's a lot of food, so dinner would be this much, and then you've got all this left over for lunches. Just cutting up the wedges to go with the burgers. I got 3 of the potatoes. Actually, I don't think I'll need 3. I'm gonna chop this up to go with the frittata, because I think as a side that'll be enough. And I've put aside some for the bangers and mash. So that's going to go into the frittata. I'm going to have to put some water in this now, because I'm not making the frittata until tomorrow. And then you just want to cut it into wedges and dry them. I've left the skins on, and just get a tea towel. Try and make them round about the same thickness, and then just give them a really good dry. Tell you what, that roast smells divine. I can't remember if I told you that I've put the veggies, the roasted veggies in. So they're now cooking. Oh yeah, no, two medium-sized potatoes is definitely enough. Okay, now I've just got some cooking oil spray, and you just want to give them a good coat. Here's my seasoning salt, which is really nice on potatoes and chicken and all sorts, and you'll find that on my website, Farmerswifehomestead.com. And I'm going to pop these in the air fryer, and this is going with the burgers. I've just just had to sit down and gone through everything to see where I'm at with all the ingredients, and I can spare 4 eggs, so I'm going to pop them in a pot and bring them up to the boil, and as soon as it comes to the boil, turn the heat off, pop a lid on and count it on the timer for 13 minutes, and you'll get perfectly good eggs. I didn't realise when I bought these, I just got the cheapest dozen there was, and these are jumbo eggs, so yeah, 13 minutes should still be okay though. So we're just going to hard boil these. Everything is coming along really well. The next thing that we're going to do is chop up some of the veggie stuff for a depression salad. I haven't got all the ingredients for the depression salad. I have shared that video before. I will link it up here and in the description. It's been a very popular recipe. The recipe isn't mine, but I have the link in the description. So I will link today's recipe though. All the recipes will be linked. So let's make up what we do have and make a depression era salad, so that can be served like alongside that spaghetti bolognese. So along with that big bowl plate of food, you could have a side salad of depression salad as well. We also have this fancy lettuce, they're called fancy lettuce. We only need a little bit to go towards the burgers, and so we can make a whole heap of side salads or lunches or whatever with the rest. So there's quite a lot there as well. So yeah, gonna start chopping some veggies and find myself a nice jar. So just pop any veggies you like in it really, sort of like a fridge pickle, but the dressing is absolutely lovely. My budget didn't extend to some celery. Celery's really nice in here as well. Pop everything into the jar. If you want bite-sized pieces, just transferred it into a big bowl. It'll be easier to mix everything. So I'm just doing little slices of carrot. We'll use some of the cucumber, and I'll use some fresh white onion. Red's better, but I love raw onion, so I don't mind white. Celery's good, radishes are good. I'm just using half of the cucumber. The other half's going to stay with the side salad. Great thing about the depression salad is it can sit in the fridge for over a week, because the salad dressing has got a lot of vinegar, and it preserves it. So if you're feeling a bit peckish, you can just grab a bowl of this out. Just doing really thin slices of onion. I'm just going to throw together the dressing. I've just added some dill, the oil, the white vinegar, some apple cider vinegar, and we need some salt and some pepper. What else have I added? Oil. Again, it will be linked in the description. Give it a really good mix up. And then just test it. Right, the roast is cooked. I used the thermometer and nice, beautifully cooked. Now the trick with your roasts is to always, once it's cooked, it's come up to temp, is to rest it for a very long time, longer than you actually think. So it's not just 10 minutes. I rest my roast depending on how big it is. This one, I'm going to rest it at least half an hour. I've wrapped it up in some tin foil. I'm then going to grab a tea towel, clean tea towel, and put a nice little blanket around it. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that aside and let that rest. So do that with any of your roasts and you will always have really succulent roasts. Okay, so the eggs are done. The wedges are just about done. We've just about finished the dressing. Well, actually it's finished. So we're just going to give it a try. The soup, the pumpkin soup just needs to be, hang on, just try it. Whoa, it's got a kick, but I really like it. I put far less sugar in it than what the original recipe says. Whew. Right, this is how much dressing it's made. We're going to save some of it to coat those noodles that we saved, and I said, oh, let's make a salad out of it. So we've still got the tuna, so we'll use half the tuna for the rice cakes and half will go into the noodle salad, and we'll use this dressing. So now we just want to coat everything and save, I don't know, maybe half a cup for the noodle dish. And I've just put that into the cabbage, carrot, cucumber and onion. And we're giving it a really good mix. Like I said, you can add other veggies to this. Anything that you can eat raw is fine to go in here. You could even put broccoli in here if you wanted to. Okay, now we've just got that jar, and just going to get a funnel. And just pop everything back into this jar. Use your tongs or something just to ideally you want the vegetables to be covered in the dressing, so you could make up more dressing and pop it into there to cover it, and then that's it. You just leave it in the fridge. You could just do this once in a while, but yeah, cover it, but because I'm going to use this dressing for the noodle salad, this will be okay because we'll eat this real quick. I hope I'm making sense. Look at those beautiful wedges. I hope it's showing up just how golden they are, and the turmeric and the seasoning salt does that. Right, I need to seriously have a tidy up, but I'm going to pop all of that dressing into the leftover spaghetti. And just give it a good coat. There may have been some water in the bottom of it too. I'm just going to give it a taste. Oh wow, that goes really well. So all we've got left to do today is blend the pumpkin soup, which is here. So I'm going to do that now. Once that pork has rested for half an hour, I am going to plate that up. All the veggies are ready for it. The other veggies that are going to go with the bangers and mash, the roasted pumpkin, that's in a different container. We've got the pasta bake to dish up and see how many portions we get, so how many meals we get for that pasta bake. And I'm just going to tally everything up for how many meals I've managed to get with this $100, because I actually think it's going to be over a week's worth of food. So yeah, that's great. So I decided initially I wasn't going to do the whole, you know, this is how many meals I got for that amount of money. But it's just interesting to see how many servings of food we actually will get. So yeah, so that's what we will do. All right, you don't need to see me whiz up the pumpkin soup. You'll see me dishing the rest of the food up, and as I said, work out the servings. And then I've already done the eggs. They're just cooling down a little bit. I'm going to make egg mayo, so that's just, you know, mash the egg, bit of mayo, bit of curry powder, salt, pepper, and then you can have egg salad sandwiches. There would probably be enough for 2 egg salad sandwiches for 2 lunches on 2 days. What else? I think that's about it. I probably should be doing the side salads as well, but I've been in the kitchen for quite a few hours now, and my knee's starting to get sore, so I'll probably just put a line in the sand and we will sort of bring it all together tomorrow. I forgot the other thing that we've got to plate up and cook is the burgers. So all I'm going to do is, I've got my frying pan here, just going to pan fry the burger patties really quick, just to caramelize the outside. They don't need to be overcooked, because then they're just going to be rubbery and horrible. And then we will just assemble a burger. If you didn't want to make egg mayo, you could use a couple of those eggs to put on your burger to make it even more hearty, if that's what you like, fried egg. And then just do 2 eggs for an egg mayo and just have sandwiches for one of the days. So just, you know, mix and match. There's the soup. If you like it thinner, by all means add more stock. You can make it creamy by putting normal whipping cream in it, or coconut cream if you want it dairy free. You could put milk in there. I'm just going to leave it as is. I like it really, really thick. At 3 ladlefuls, fill that bowl, and you can have a slice of bread with it. So that's a lovely lunch or dinner. So I just counted how many bowls of soup, pumpkin soup, and we got 5 of the exact same amount, 3 ladles of the soup. So there's 5 meals there. I'll add that to the tally. First of all, I want to see how many servings of pasta bake. It's been sitting there for a while, and this the cheese was all nice and gooey. So you could have this for lunch or another dinner. That's the pasta bake. Obviously, if you had more cheese, you could lather it with cheese and have a side of either a side garden salad or some depression salad, and that's a lovely little meal there. Let's work out how many servings for this. Okay, so just dividing it roughly, there is 6 servings. So you can see that small little bit there is that much worth of food. So there's 6 servings, or 6 meals, 6 more meals in that. Swap pans, but there's the patties, and I put a slice of that cheese on each side. And now I'm just going to thinly slice some tomato, 2 pieces for each burger. Need the mayo. And toast your buns if you want to. I haven't. I like mayo on both sides. And nope, I'm not shy about putting the mayo on. So we want a good amount of lettuce. Tomato. Patty. You could put some raw onion on there if you wanted to. Personally, I like barbecue sauce. Obviously, you could put, as I suggested, an egg on it if you prefer an egg. Beetroot, whatever your heart desires. Yum. There's 2 burger meals with a side of wedges, and if that's not enough, you can have a side salad with it. Wedges and beef cheeseburger. Delish. Okay, here's the pork. Now, to be completely honest, I wouldn't bother buying the hock again for this kind of recipe because there's actually not a lot of meat on it. So I'm going to really struggle to get a second meal out of it, but we are going to persevere and we're going to try. So we've got some pork. Well, there's more than enough for a roast, so you know, by all means get it for a cheap roast. And I've just got about 1/3 of that cabbage. Got some left over. So you can make gravy out of the roast drippings from the pan. If you don't know how to make gravy from roast drippings, let me know and I'll show you how to make it from scratch in another video. But that's a substantial meal for 2 people. Yeah. So to get whatever I can out of the rest of this bone, just so that I can do the barbecue, pulled pork barbecue buns. There are so many other meals, honestly. If you couldn't do it and you just wanted, and you had an extra person, you could get enough meat for another person. But in the spirit of this, we're going to give it a go. So what I've decided to do is chuck the rest of this hock into the slow cooker and let it slow cook, and then whatever is left on that bone is just going to become very, very tender, and I will be able to get more meat off it that way. And then whatever juices are made from it, I'm just going to put it on low. What is the time? It's 4 o'clock, so maybe, oh, I could even put it on high. If I put it on high, even 4 hours would still be 10 o'clock, and I could turn it off, or I could leave it going all night on low, and whatever juices it makes, it can go towards the soup. So regardless, I'm going to chuck it in the slow cooker and let's see what meat we can get off it. But I'll show you quickly. So there's definitely still meat on there. It's just because it's been roasted, it's just not fall apart, you know, like pull apart type meat. Anyway, that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow morning bright and early, and we will finish this cooking extravaganza tomorrow. Alright, welcome back to day 2 for me. It's same day for you. Just a quick recap. What have we done? I've got a little list here. So we've done the pumpkin soup, the baked oatmeal, overnight oats, spaghetti bolognese, pasta bake, depression salad, burgers and wedges, roast pork. We've half prepped the tuna noodle salad, and we haven't made up the side salads. I've had to abandon the barbecue pork buns. I popped, if you remember, of course you remember, it happened like 5 minutes ago for you. I popped the leftover roast in the slow cooker. That worked amazing. So I continued to cook that into the evening, and then I switched it off and everything was falling apart. I should have taken the time to pull it apart and get it off the bone, take the fat off, all that sort of stuff while it was still hot. Duh, silly old me just went, oh sweet, okay, I'm just going to put it all here, and then when it cooled down enough I chucked it in the fridge, and now it's, you know, it's harder to pull apart now. So I just thought, you get the idea. All I was going to do was make up a barbecue sauce. You could use short brought barbecue sauce, or make up a barbecue sauce, pour it over the pork, put a bit of onion in there, cook it, warm it up, and then toast your burger buns, and then pop it on the top, and with a bit of coleslaw on the side. So that's what we were going to do. So what I've done instead is chucked all the rest over pork and the pork bones into the slow cooker. I have popped in some onion, some diced carrot, and here's the bag. We get this King's soup mix over here. It's basically just it's pea and ham flavoured, so it's got some lentils, some split peas, well, it might not be lentils actually, it might be the different kinds of split peas, like the orange and the yellow. I'm going to pour that into the slow cooker, follow the directions, which is 9 cups of water. It's got the stock in there. If you're not in New Zealand and you can't get this, just add split peas, a bit of chicken stock or stock powder, and then yeah, just let it boil away. So that's what I'm doing. I've started doing some fried onions. I'm cooking up the veg for the bangers and mash, and we're just going to look at the breakfast and, you know, throw some more things together. So here's that pork, and all of that porky goodness will come away again. I'm just going to add some water, 9 cups, and just pop it on low and let that cook away. Right, there's the overnight oats. They've all soaked up that liquid, which is lovely, and now I'm just going to top it off with some yogurt. And by the way, I'm pretty sure your name was Pamela. You got back to me yesterday, I think it was, and let me know that you were interested in mostly dinners. So sorry about that. I've obviously done more than that. Yes, sorry, I just assumed that you were wanting a full budget. So hopefully you're finding this helpful anyway. So we've topped it with some lovely yogurt. That's that thick creamy yogurt, and with one of the apples I've just diced it up, a little bit of butter and a little bit of brown sugar, and it's sort of made it a little bit caramelly, and then we're just gonna top it with that. Delish. There's the baked peach oatmeal with some side of yogurt and fresh peaches, and here's the lovely overnight caramelized apple oats. And let me tell you, that caramelized apple is delicious. Right, if you remember, we put some of that depression salad dressing on this leftover noodles. I've put half a can of tuna in there, and now I'm going to use one or two, it's up to you, of the eggs. So it's going to be like a tuna noodle kind of a salad. And some carrot, and I'm going to pop just a couple of tablespoons of mayo, and yeah, I'm just going to mix that all around, and because it's already got that acidity, that'll go quite nicely with the tuna If you've got some parsley growing in your garden or something, it could really do with some greens. So I might pop out, or chives. I might grab some chives actually. And this would make a lovely lunch. And just season it with some salt and pepper as well. Again, absolutely choose how you want to divvy up this salad. But I am, after, you know, I've done the burgers, I'm going to give this a rough chop. And then I'm just going to add the last of the carrot, the other half of the last carrot. Just a very, very simple. And this is the rest of the tomato that we had from the burgers. And I've still got one left. So you could use that one for tomato on toast, an egg tomato. I've got the leftover 2 tomato egg that I'm just going to mash up, a little bit of mayo, a little bit of salt and pepper and curry, mash it up, and that would be great on a couple of sandwiches for lunch. And I'm pretty sure I've got a cucumber. Yes. So again, you could organise this salad ahead of time and then just have it sitting in the fridge for a quick grab, sides, lunches and things. So there's at least, depending on if you're going to have one as a lunch, you could save some of that vinaigrette if you want, that we added to the depression salad. But yeah, that will go with any of the main meals or as lunches. There's probably, I would say, let's have a look how many servings is in there. That's a big amount. There's probably 6 servings there, I would say, so at least 3 meals, at least, as a side salad. Of course, if you don't like curry powder, you don't have to put that in there. And that makes a beautiful egg salad. I usually use my potato masher, but that worked quite well. Okay, so another breakfast that you can have or lunch is a can of the baked beans. I think they were $1.67, and some toast. So that's another breakfast or lunch. And with the other half of the tuna, add some mayo, and then you can have it on some rice cakes. You could also have that other tomato on rice cakes. I've got left here, this way of fruit, is 2 oranges. So obviously you can just have them as fruit, as a snack. An apple, and the other tomato just use on the crackers, and that's quite a lot of snacks. There's probably, gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 20 or 30 crackers in there. So that's quite a few snacks. You've also got 4 buns left. Now initially we were going to make the pork buns with the side salad. Again, if you are able to get the rest of that pork meat off while it's hot, you've got the ingredients there, and you don't need it in the soup. Just use the pork bone for the soup. So you do have another meal there. So I will count that as the 2 meals. I'm just not making it as I explained earlier. And then that leaves you with 2 left, so you could make some garlic bread with it or just have it with some of the soups. We've got 2 bananas left. We have some oatmeal left. We've got this much oatmeal left. So we are going to make some oatmeal muffins shortly. We're going to give it a go. We're going to use the rolled oats and blitz them up really, really well and turn it into oat flour and see if we can make some banana muffins. So not sure if we'll use both bananas or just one. We will figure that out next. What else have we got? So we've just got the frittata. So we've got 4 eggs left for that. And we've got 1 egg left for the muffins. Yes, yeah. So it's going really well. I'm keeping a tally of how much everything is, how much has been made. And what else have we got left to do? Just to plate up the noodle salad, which has actually made quite a lot. There's 4 portions or servings or meals there. And we still have all this as well to go in that frittata. We also have that third of a cabbage left, which you would make the coleslaw out of. So the ingredients are all there to make it. I'm just not making it on camera because of the pork. And I just don't have time to heat it back up and then do the pork. But at least it gives you an idea. This lady is tired. I'm really tired. I'm not sleeping very well. I don't know what it is. I'm only getting 5 hours a night and it's just not enough for me. So I'm really struggling at the moment. Right, focus. What are you going to do now? You're going to get some chives and you're going to plate up the noodle salad. There's the tuna egg noodle salad. Here's the depression noodle salad. Depression salad after a couple of days in the fridge. Now I'm just going to try a little bit. I haven't had some for ages. Trying to get a little bit of everything. Wow. It's every bit as amazing as I remember. It's incredible. The depression salad, it's actually hard to describe just how delicious this salad is. Alright, now got the 4 eggs left here. We're going to throw together the frittata. We've actually got quite a bit of cheese left, so you could use more cheese for the pasta bake if you wanted to. And yeah, we'll use some on the frittata, but there's more. You could put double the cheese on your burger, or what was the other thing? Or you could put it on your barbecue pork buns as well and have toast it up, so that'd be nice. Right, we've cooked the sausages for the bangers and mash, and I've got 2 of the sausages, because if you remember right, there was 6 sausages. Now we're just going to crack the eggs for this frittata. So, and we're going to chop up the sausages, and we've got some milk as well. So you could actually, if you wanted to use less yogurt in the overnight oats, there was only about that much of the overnight oats. You could double. So instead of half a cup, you could put a cup of oats and a cup of milk, or milk and water, and that way you would have, you know, more of the overnight oats, and then you could use less of the yogurt. So I've just popped some of that milk that we've got left. We've probably got about 1 cup of milk left. And I'm just giving that a really good whisk. I'll put some salt and pepper in here as well. I've got some leftover chives that'll go in as well. And then I'm just going to cut up the sausages and chuck it all into the dish. So I'm just make it go further cut them down the middle that way. These is just beef sausages. You got a little bit of, whew, they're hot, extra protein in. Normally my hands can handle heat very well. Right. So if you remember, we've got the veg. We had the carrot, pumpkin, onion and some potato in there. A little bit of everything. And we're going to pop sausage in there. So this again can be breakfast, it could be lunch, it could be a dinner. And then pour over the egg and milk. And then you just want to give it another mix just to make sure that everything's coated in egg. Poke it all down. Some pepper and some salt. Pop some chives, parsley, whatever you've got hanging around. And or you could use some of this cheese in sandwiches as well, or on your crackers with the do it cheese and tomato. But I think that was a great way of being able to afford a little bit of cheese, so that we had some cheese and just use the slices accordingly for $5, because you just can't buy cheese for $5 anymore, not in a block anyway, well, not that I've seen. And then we're just going to bake this until it's set, and it would be very, very lovely. Okay, we're just going to put together the bangers and mash after this. This is the mashed potato. Making up some brown onion gravy with some of the onion. I put flour in the I cooked up the onion first, popped some flour down the bottom, grabbed a beef stock cube, and now I'm just adding some water. Pepper, and some salt, and just that's real quick brown onion gravy. Let's cook that down for a little bit, a couple of minutes. So we're just plating up the bangers and mash, and there's actually enough servings of mashed potato for 2 more, so there's a big helping on the plate. So you could have some leftover mashed potato, or you could make potato cakes. It's another meal. And then we've got the corn. And we also have the roasted pumpkin that we roasted up. The pieces are quite big, so you could just do one and use it for another meal as well. But as you can see, the meals are quite hearty. And just a bit of gravy, brown onion gravy over the top. Yum. Another big meal. But instead of muffins, I'm just gonna pop it into like a little, like I did the oatmeal. And I've got some butter, some brown sugar, and I'm just gonna whip that together, and then I'm going to mash these bananas. Right, now I'm going to add some baking soda and baking powder. And there's the oats that I've whipped up. That's 1.5 cups. Start with that, and just a little bit of milk. I'm just making this up. Another 1/4 cup of oat flour. Right. I don't know how it's going to turn out because it may be quite dense because of the oat flour, but don't know until I try. And the only reason why I've put it in a brownie tin is because I couldn't be bothered cleaning my silicone muffin cups. So I'm just going to chuck this in the oven. That frittata's looking really good too. So we'll try with 20 minutes. Better turn that element off. Right, and we're going to have a clean up. There's the frittata, sausage and veggie frittata. So you can see that's quite a lot of portions, so there's 6 portions there. And there's the lovely little banana cake slice. Yum, it smells so good and it's really tender. So the only thing I haven't been able to show you is the pork buns, and we've been through that, and the soup, the pea and ham soup is still cooking. But I might be able to insert a photo when that's finished. But I need to wrap up this video so that it can get edited and I can get it out to you guys. I'm looking forward to trying this little cake because it looks very nice and it's very moist looking. So I have taken a tally of everything and been writing it down, and I've got over 85 servings of food. That includes snacks. I haven't included fruit, so you could include that as extra servings. So it's about 85 to 90 servings of food for $100. So I think that's pretty fantastic, and it's well over a week's worth of food because a lot of these are hearty meals and you can serve them for lunches and some more dinners and things like that. Anyway, I hope it all has made sense. It's a little hard when you're doing a big huge video like this and doing it over a few days, whether I'm kind of making sense and you're able to follow along. A few of the recipes I will endeavour to put up on the website, and yeah, let me know your thoughts on it, and yeah, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you on the next one. Alright, bye for now.